最后我就听到他说你的孙女给人家抱走了。
2 years ago, Lee Sin-ru was taken from her home. Until now, there's been no word.
拜托他们也是没有用啊，他们也是没有精力去找。
In Malaysia, 1,900 children under the age of 18 were reported missing last year. That's 5 missing children a day.
What happened to these children? The bigger question, are authorities doing enough to bring them safely home? In this edition of Get Real, we investigate the causes of the missing children in Malaysia.
This is Rabu, a small town in Malaysia's Pahang state. It's a small community with little crime to speak of. But in September 2010, a little girl was snatched from her home in broad daylight.
我的伯娘打电话来说，那时那个电话有一点问题，我都听不清楚。他说，然后最后我就听到他说，你的孙女给人家抱走了。
2-year-old Lee Sin-ru's grandmother meant to leave her at home for only half an hour. But it is in that time that Sin-ru is taken from her home.
我就在8月14，我就在那边吃月饼，看电视就看到一个镜头吧，抱住一个小孩子就走了，走上去了，看到我就开门，我就一直走了，一直走，追到他，看到他在上面，你知道没有？我一直走，他走到这样远了咯。
In a matter of minutes, 2-year-old Lee Sin-ru is gone. A police report is made, and soon roadblocks are set up on the road leading out of town. Police activate the NER alert, a nationwide emergency response system that was piloted earlier that year.
The alert is triggered once the child has been missing for more than 24 hours. Police will send out a notice to its partners like banks, TV and radio stations, local government councils and federal agencies. They will also then put up posters such as these. And the idea is to have as many eyes as possible on the ground looking out for the child.
Soon, Sin-ru's picture is all over Malaysia. You could not go to the bank, turn on the TV or go online without seeing her face.
Budaknya lingkungan dalam umur lebih kurang 6 tahun dengan kulit yang tak berapa cerah.
Noor Asma has spent the last 2 hours searching her neighborhood, all in the hope of finding her 7-year-old son, Wan Hazim. He's been missing for the last 2 hours.
Sebelum ni saya banyak dengar pasal anak hilang and then dijumpai meninggal, mati. So macam-macam lah saya rekod dan macam itulah saya fikir pasal Hazim.
Boleh Cik Din ceritakan sedikit tentang perwatakan anak Cik Din?
Tidaklah, Wan Muhammad Hazim ni dia
Her husband, Hazim's father, is a car dealer who has his own radio talk show. He goes on air to plead for his son's safe return, with a veiled message for the alleged kidnappers.
Jadi kalau anda berniat tidak baik kepada kanak-kanak, berniat yang negatif, ataupun anda perlukan sesuatu yang perlu anda bincangkan dengan saya, tolong telefon saya lah, 012.
Just a few hours earlier that afternoon on the 9th of March, Noor Asma sent her eldest son home from school. She had checked in on her younger boy, Hazim, before leaving for work. Nothing seemed amiss. and nothing could have prepared her for what happened next. At 4 o'clock, there was a call from home. Hazim had vanished.
Pada firasat saya pun, saya tak fikir lain. Saya ingat Hazim macam ayah dia lah, diculik lah.
Dia procedure 24 hours.
Yeah.
But we cannot wait for 24 hours. We have to act right now. We have to move. Memang poster saya di merata tempat.
2 hours after she discovers her son missing, Noor Asma is on her way to the nearest police station at Subang Jaya. But officers brush her off, saying the case is not under their jurisdiction. She's made to go to another police station, 15 minutes away at Sunway. But the officer there refuses to take Noor Asma's report. He tells her to go to Petaling Jaya, an hour's drive in peak hour traffic.
I pun dalam fikiran, I tak tahu mau buat apa lah. Just tunggu. Harap Hazim pulang lah. So, ada pun tunggu news dari, harap polis jugalah. Tapi, tak ada.
One Hazim, Lee Sin Roo. Just 2 names in a sea of missing children. This is Shalini Muhammad Nasha, last seen in 2008. Satish Kumar Tamilvanam, vanished in August. Nurul Nadira, kidnapped in March, found a week later in a pit, burnt beyond recognition. In 2011, about 1,900 under-18s were said to have disappeared in Malaysia. That's 5 every day. Only half have been found. In 2010, authorities piloted the National Urgent Response, or NUR Alert, to find missing children under 12. One of its first cases was Lee Sin Roo. But NUR Alert has been criticized for its lack of coordination. One of its biggest critics is child activist Hartini Zainuddin. She has been working with street children for over 5 years and has submitted proposals to improve the system.
In so many of the cases that I've seen, there is a whole confusion just in identifying who is the child that is missing, for how long, when is it triggered, when is it stopped. So these are things, you know, that they can tell you on paper, yes, it's supposed to be like this and this is the procedure and stuff. But the truth of the matter is, in the cases that I've seen, it hasn't happened.
After the break, who is to blame when a child goes missing? And are the police really in control? The NUR Alert is Malaysia's emergency response system to trace missing children under 12. Its origins are here, in the working-class neighbourhood of Wangsa Maju in Kuala Lumpur. In 2007, 8-year-old Nurin Jaslin went alone to the nearby market to buy a hair clip. That was the last time she was seen. Nurin's parents called the police, but the police waited 2 days before searching. By then, it was too late. Nurin was found a month later, sexually assaulted and stuffed in a sports bag. The public was horrified.
For them, it's like their little girl near her house. It was not as though she was gone somewhere. It was just near her place. It's like anybody's child.
Shocked by the death, Datuk Noraina and other bloggers proposed a search and rescue system modelled after the Amber Alert in the US. They named it after Nurin Jaslin. The proposal was adopted by authorities in 2010, who renamed it the NUR Alert.
We were convinced that there's really no mechanism or no something that can help parents whose children went missing. They just did not know what to do. And it was so obvious. Nurin's father didn't get the help that he needed.
The NER Alert is a public alert system involving banks, the media and government agencies. Their role is to distribute information about the missing child through posters and public broadcasts to get the word out as quickly as possible. The alert is triggered 24 hours after a child is reported missing, once police determine no ransom is involved. But since 2010, the NER Alert has only been activated 6 times. Only twice has it been successful in getting a missing child safely home. But even these success cases have exposed cracks in the system. In December 2011, 7-year-old Das Robert and 8-year-old Santiran Damaraj were abducted by a neighbor, a heroin addict who abused them repeatedly. The NER Alert was triggered, but only 8 days after the first police report was made, far longer than the stipulated 24 hours under the NER Alert Standard Operating Procedure, or SOP.
Why 8 days? Why the huge delay?
We are centralized in Bukit Aman, and we only trigger when we get the information from the ground. Okay, so if we didn't receive any information from the ground, how do we proceed with the NER Alert system?
Was the SOP followed in the case of Das?
Yeah, the SOP was followed, and because we have followed actually, but we have.
This was more or less how the hour-long interview proceeded.
Because we have various of IOs actually. Maybe the
investigating officers.
Yeah, investigating officers. And I see this one as a...
Get Real could not get any straight answers from DSP Suryani, one of the heads of the NER Alert.
Actually, it's not an issue.
Under standard procedure, police wait 24 hours before activating the NER Alert to establish that no ransom is involved. But for Dr. Hartini Zainuddin, that's 24 hours too long.
Do you know how long it takes for a child to get to international waters? 1 hour. And you should treat the child as a missing child first. And then when you have the information that the child has been kidnapped, then the ransom, then you can pull the NER Alert off. This is what I mean of knowing when to trigger the NER Alert and knowing when to stop. Because you know what, if you assume and you wait for that ransom note, what if it never comes? And you wasted 24 hours.
The streets of Chao Kit, Kuala Lumpur's red light district, are some of the city's most dangerous. This is the hunting ground of Dr. Hartini, except that her target is children in trouble.
2 years ago, before this, the police actually moved out the police station because they were scared for their safety. We're like, wonderful.
Despite her sometimes dim view of the police, she says often it is parents who put their own children at risk.
Especially in poorer areas like here, for example, where parents cannot afford maids and people to help take care of the kids, that there's no one watching the children and they can easily be snatched. And this is not, again, dah tangkap, naik atas, bawa di atas lah.
Most of the missing children in Malaysia are aged 13 and above. Last year, they accounted for 1,800 of those who disappeared. What gets Dr. Hartini upset is that these missing teenagers don't get much attention when they go missing. She says police tend to dismiss these teens as runaways. The NER Alert is not used to trace them. After the break, Get Real finds out where some of these runaway teens end up.
Seorang remaja malam, dia boleh dapat 5 hingga 6 customer dalam satu malam.
In the last 3 years, over 4,000 children below 18 have disappeared from home. Of the 1,800 teenagers reported missing last year, the vast majority were girls, 3 times more compared to boys, and only about half are found. In many cases, they had run away from home. Social workers say that is why missing teens don't usually get the attention of the police. But the danger is that some of these teens in fact end up trafficked into the sex trade. Get Real has returned to Chowkit, this time to meet social worker Husna Hamid. Tonight, we go on a tour of Kuala Lumpur's infamous red light district, where hotel is just a byword for brothel. Chowkit, Husna tells us, is where many runaway teens end up, staying in cramped lodgings for $7 a night.
How do these teen runaways end up in the sex trade?
Biasanya kalau mereka lari dan kat sini ada bapa-bapa ayam tau, kita kenal bapa ayam. Lepas tu dia orang kenal dengan boyfriend mereka, sedangkan boyfriend mereka pun adalah macam kerja sebagai pusher macam tu kan. So dia akan gunakan perempuan-perempuan yang lari, yang remaja-remaja lagi untuk bekerja dekat kawasan ini. Daripada biasanya kalau remaja dia punya ranking dia adalah 50 and above. So dia boleh gunakan remaja-remaja ni untuk keuntungan dari mereka. Biasanya kalau seorang remaja malam dia boleh dapat 5 hingga 6 customer dalam satu malam.
Do you think the authorities are doing enough to understand the problems of teen runaways and to try to help them so that they don't end up on the streets as sex workers?
Polis juga macam dia hanya ambil part dia tertentu saja. Dia hanya boleh buat operasi, tangkap dan seminggu lepas tu dia akan lepas macam tu tanpa ambil ambil insentif lain untuk menolong mereka.
Husna says teen prostitutes who are caught are usually sent to police lockups, but they are not given any long-term help. After a few weeks, they are back on the streets. It's a vicious cycle. NGOs say the government is tight on funds, short of expertise, and out of ideas. And it's left to them to help the teens find hope of an alternative future. Meanwhile, for those whose young children go missing, all they can do is wait helplessly and hope that this is not where their missing children end up.
我责怪我自己我这么傻，我已经防了很久的，我已经一带他回来我就落门了，我不要什么了，不知那天做梦。
2-year-old Lee Sin Ru lived with her father and grandmother. In September 2010, she was taken from her home in Pahang. Sin Ru was one of the first to trigger the NUR alert, Malaysia's emergency response system for missing children.
追踪到现在1年多了，也是没有消息。拜托他们也是没有用啊，他们也是没有精力去找。
Sin Ru's father, Lee Chi Kyong, believes that she was taken by the sister of her biological mother. Sin Ru's parents were never married, so police classified her as missing. Mr. Lee has given up searching. He has since started a new family. His baby girl, Hui Wen, is now 2 years old, the same age as Sin Ru when she was taken. Mr. Lee wants to move on, but each time he sees Hui Wen, he's reminded of what he's lost.
我会跟慧文讲，她以前有个姐姐啊，给她那阿姨抱走了啊，要等她改次等她来啊，要跟她相认哦，这样咯。
Ingat lagi ke dia, Mi?
Ingat. Tempat tu lah, tapi...
Berapa lama Bulan 3 tak?
Bulan 3.
4, 5.
There is a happier ending to Hazim's story.
7 bulan dah.
2 days after Hazim disappeared from his home in KL, he was found and returned safe to his parents. The shy, introverted boy has refused to talk about what happened, but his parents believe he was kidnapped.
Tanya dia siapa bawa dia. Siapa bawa Hazim? Saya rasa mungkin Hazim terlepas dia sebab dia tak cakap. Jadi tak ada value lah. Nak suruh minta sedekah pun tak boleh. Nak suruh apa-apalah tak boleh. Kecuali organ je.
Muhammad Qadir tells us hours after his son disappeared, a motorist spotted him walking in the middle of this busy highway. From here, it's just a 20-minute drive to the nearest port. Hazim was brought to the police station. Ironically, the same one in Subang Jaya that had sent Hazim's mother away when she went to report her missing child. It is not known if the Nur alert was activated for Hazim, but none of the police officers recognized the boy, despite pictures of him on missing posters at the stations. Nor did anyone check if he had been listed as a missing child. Not sure who he was, police officers took Hazim to a welfare home. It wasn't till 2 days later that an officer recognized Hazim from the posters. Only then was he reunited with his family.
Are you angry at how the police handled the case?
Sebab bila saya buat report polis, saya berharap polis tu akan tolong saya. So saya tunggu sampai malam dari polis, saya tak ada khabar berita langsung. So saya marah lah as a mother yang kehilangan anak, memang saya marah.
Malaysia's alert system for missing children, the Nur alert, has come under fire for failing to do its job. But a deeper problem exists, that of trust. When a child goes missing, do parents trust the police will do their job? Or do they feel that their only option is to take the search into their own hands?